Oh my god, that episode was so intense. Hi friends, welcome to Beautifully Bookish Bethany. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Vampire Academy show on Peacock, Season 1, Episode 5, Near Guard, Far Guard. I just finished watching this episode a few minutes ago. I have notes, I have a lot of thoughts, but I've got to say that so far this is among my favorite episodes that we've gotten this season. Emotionally, it was really intense. A lot happened, but I feel like we got to really see a lot of the characterization be developed in this episode. There were a lot of intense moments for characters, and we saw them having to deal with things like grief and fear and being put in really difficult situations. This is also an episode where the political ramifications are ratcheting up and the stakes are incredibly high. No, not to mention all of the romantic relationships developing. Now, some of this is in tragic ways, some of this is in ways that I think are going to get really intense in coming episodes, but I am excited to see where all of it goes, and I really loved what they did with this episode. So we know from the last episode that we're continuing on with these Guardian tests. This one, they were all taken, dropped out in the middle of nowhere, and they have to complete a task and survive a fake attack, supposedly, except what we know from the very end of the last episode is that the council has decided to pit them against a real-life Strigoi. Is this a stupid idea? Yes, probably. Was this Tatiana's idea? And what the hell is she up to? Yeah, that is the question that I have as well, and we're going to talk more about that. But in this episode, the central thing that's going on is this test where they think they're going out to survive a faked attack, but in fact it turns out that there's a real Strigoi, and from the get-go things go really wrong because the Strigoi kills its handler, and lo and behold, we later find out that the handler is now a second Strigoi, and a lot of people die. This is really sad. I have to say, I yelled at the screen during this episode when Mikhail was attacked and turned into a Strigoi. That entire thing was just so devastatingly sad and tragic for him, for Sonya. We're going to talk more about Sonya and what this means for her. But what was wild to me is there was a woman on the council who basically said, Damphirs aren't innocent. Their very existence puts their lives in jeopardy. Yikes. Clearly they are intended to be viewed as second-class citizens by a significant portion of the council, and Tatiana is encouraging that, although I have a lot of questions about her true intentions. She had to know that it was a really dumb idea to do what she did, and it makes me wonder if she's actually the insider, if maybe she's on the side of the Strigoi. At the very least, we know that she has a lot of political intentions for herself, but I have questions because she is insidious. She's the one who goes and tells Lissa that her best friend is in danger, obviously knowing that Lissa was probably going to do something stupid, endanger herself, endanger more people, which is in fact what happened. Was she maybe hoping that Lissa would end up getting killed off? Perhaps, I don't know, but I have a lot of questions about Tatiana's loyalties, about her intentions, and whatever it is she's doing, she's definitely up to no good, and she's kind of the worst. Speaking of Strigoi, it's interesting to me we're seeing this repeated theme of Rose being able to somehow sense them. Does this have something to do with what happened in the car accident? We haven't gotten a lot of information about that. It seems like Lissa doesn't realize, perhaps, that she might have healed Rose during the car accident. I know from the books that that is what happened, that she healed her, and that's why they're now so deeply connected. But in the show, we're seeing Lissa just finally starting to investigate and explore her own abilities with spirit. She's researching Saint Vladimir. She's trying to figure out how she can wield spirit without losing her mind, giving into the darkness, and that's kind of a repeated theme here. But I wonder if the closeness to death, or whatever it is that happened, is maybe part of why Rose is able to sense Strigoi before they attack, when clearly her fellow Damphirs are not able to do that. There's a lot of weird interconnected unexpected things happening that raises a lot of questions. The black eyes thing is really creepy at the, and we'll talk, oh man, we'll talk about the very end of the episode in a minute. But we know that Lissa is starting to have the darkness affect her. Early on in the episode, we see her being haunted by her dead brother. We know earlier she'd had dreams about him. Now she's seeing him in sort of waking visions. The more that she uses this ability, the more the darkness, whatever the darkness is, starts to take a toll on her and have a negative impact. Meanwhile, we've got Sonya's situation. Victor has been confirmed to have a terminal illness. One thing that I think is interesting about the costuming choices with Victor is that early on in the episode, once he's realized he has a terminal illness and has kind of come to terms with it, he's wearing this white suit. But after Sonya decides to heal him in this kind of honestly disturbing scene where there's gold coming out of like his eyes and everything, and clearly at some serious cost to her because she's now devastated at the loss of Mikhail. Oh my god, I feel so bad for them. I was like, no, not Mikhail. Why can't anyone be happy? But like, I guess we need the drama. They can't let anyone be happy. But she does this thing of healing him, and then when he walks into that council chamber, he is looking good. He is in his red suit, and that is when he says, okay, I'm doing it. My daughter now apparently has healed me. I mean, he doesn't say that, but that's what's going on. He's wearing his red suit, and he is no longer just waiting to die. He is now putting himself forward as a potential new ruler, as the next monarch. And I thought that that outfit change was really interesting and really effective, especially because from earlier episodes, we know that white seems to be a color of death and mourning for the Moroi. And so we go from him wearing white, wearing the color of death because he's just waiting to die, to the color of red, which is blood. It's the life's breath of the Moroi. So that was a smart costuming choice and I think was really effective on screen. So let's talk a little bit about the specifics of what happened early on in the challenge. Rose ends up being made team leader. One of the other Damfirs is supposed to play the Moroi. I thought his lines were really pretty funny when he's pretending to be this needy, arrogant, stuck-up Moroi. I had a good laugh at that. And because the leader said that they should survive by any means necessary, she smartly is like, hey, let's take off these blood collars. If we're not wearing them, they can't fail us, and let's move to a more secure location. Rose is showing that she's good at what she does. She's really smart. The fact that she survived when a lot of the fully trained guardians did not survive that night, we see something of her. Now, Lissa initially goes and tells Dimitri what's going on. He immediately takes off on his motorcycle out to save the day. He gets there just in time, although I liked the fact, because I was like, oh, come on, you're gonna have Dimitri come in and save the day for her again. But no, Rose is the one who takes out the Strigoi, which I was happy to see that. I feel like we're getting a little more evenness between them, and there's some interesting developments to their relationship in this episode. I do feel like it's kind of messed up that the woman, I don't know, remember her name, but the woman who is kind of the commander of the Damfir Guardians knew what the council was doing and still went with it. I'm like, what are you doing? You've got to protect your people. They are so brainwashed into believing that this is their calling that they don't, like, I just want them to wake up and realize how they're being used and abused by so many of the people in power over them, and they really don't have to be. So I want something to happen in this season about that because it's really bothersome. Then of course the whole crew with Lissa, Christian, Mia, and Mason all get Jesse Zeklos to drive them out to save people, which of course they end up just needing to be saved themselves for the most part. So like, did they do any good? Not really. Zeklos is still a creep and the worst. It is very satisfying though, the moment where he's being creepy to Meredith and Mia gets pissed off and attacks him. Is she gonna get comeuppance for that later? Probably. We're probably going to see that revisited later on, but I love that she is standing up for Meredith. I am so excited about our little burgeoning sapphic relationship. I feel like we're probably going to get more of that in the next episode. That's what I'm hoping for. I feel like a lot of the relationships are heating up right now, and it's so sweet that Mia was concerned about Meredith enough that she wanted to go and check on her. Meanwhile, Lissa ends up healing one of the Damfir Guardians after he's attacked by a Strigoi. a few people see this. I don't know exactly who saw it. I don't know if Jessie did, but I know for sure that Mia did, which is going to be interesting because she knows about the secret of her sister Sonya's ability, and nobody outside of their immediate family seems to be aware of it. So I'm wondering kind of where all of that is going to end up taking us, if they're going to eventually talk to her about spirit. We'll see what happens. So of course, Lissa, continuing on with her journey of trying to investigate the deal with Saint Vladimir, figure out how he managed to wield spirit without losing his mind, brilliantly decides, hey, I need to go on the royal tour so I can go to Lisbon so I can investigate more. How do I get on the royal tour? Oh, get engaged to Jessie Zeklos. Like, oh my God, come on. So yeah, she's gonna be engaged to Jessie Zeklos. That's not gonna go well. But then we did get this really, really sweet, heartbreaking, beautiful moment between her and Christian, where he says, why does it feel like you're breaking up with me when we're not really even together? And she tells him, because I wish we could be, I want to be. And he's like, do whatever you need to do. And then they sleep together, and I love them together. It's just, I do love the angst and the longing and the way that they're developing the relationship between the two of them. Damn, that last scene, the series of scenes, it was honestly really intense. We have Lissa waking up in bed with Christian, healing her fingernail marks on his hand, and then her eyes turn black. Meanwhile, the black eyes get shared with Rose, and like some lights blow out where she is. So that's interesting that they have so much of a link, that not only does she see what's going on, but the black eyes and the darkness is also affecting her. And it seems as if, maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed as if the black eyes left Lissa first and went to Rose maybe, which makes me wonder, and again, I haven't read all the books, so I don't really know for sure, but it makes me wonder if part of how Saint Vladimir managed to not lose his mind was by pushing all of that onto a Damphir he was connected with, or Damphirs he was connected with, or something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm just really curious what that is and what those mechanisms are going to be. Then of course we have Sonya, who tries to jump off a balcony, is supported by all of these birds, and throughout the season we've been seeing her heal bird after bird after bird. She's got this really sweet spirit, even though she sometimes gets the darkness in her eyes. But this time she's devastated. She's grieving the loss of the man that she loves. She can't lose her dad, and so she did the full healing on him no matter what it cost her. The birds are saving her, and then at the end we see her walking away with the dead birds littering the ground. And I just, I feel like we're seeing a villain origin story, and it's so sad. Yeah. So that's the episode. I really loved it. I had a lot of feelings about this episode. I think the performances were really strong, especially from the characters who were showing the grief that they were feeling over different things that happened. Really enjoying the show, and I'm excited to see what the next episode brings us. Okay, how could I forget? I almost forgot another very, very important thing before we end this. Is the Rose and Dimitri and Mason love triangle is coming to a head. We have other Guardian trainees telling Rose early in the episode, Mason is clearly in love with you. She's like, no, he's not. Yeah, he is. You need to either go for it because he's a great guy, or stop leading him on. And she's just like, whatever, it's a bad metaphor you're using and stuff. But then after all this shit goes down, she has a moment with Dimitri where he tells her, I should have been protecting Lissa. My mind should have been on her instead of what? Instead of on you. So we've got this clear demonstration that he has feelings, and then right after that, Mason walks in and basically makes up with her after he'd been mad at her from the last episode, and essentially shares his feelings, kind of, not in so many words, of saying, I'll be here as always waiting for you, kisses her cheek, and that's where we leave it. So, oh my gosh, there's so much tension in this romantic triangle between the three of them. I really feel for Mason, because I think while Rose cares about him as a friend and is attracted to him, I don't, that's not going to be endgame, and I'm so sad for him, honestly. But things are getting ready to heat up with Dimitri, so we'll see where that goes. So that is it. Loved this episode. I could arguably say this was my favorite episode in the season so far, and I am really excited to see where the rest of the season is going to take us. I'll be back once I've seen episode 6, but in the meantime, talk to me in the comments down below. Let me know any of your thoughts on this episode. Did you like it as much as I did? What do you think about the tension? What do you think about the politics and all of the various things that are happening? And do you have any thoughts, any predictions on what they're going to do, where things are going to go? Maybe some of you have read the books and kind of know what they're doing. I don't know how many changes they're making, although clearly some, but really enjoyed this installment, and I had a lot more to say about it than I've had to say about other episodes as well. Talk to me in the comments down below if you like this video. It always helps if you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.